Hare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Vallabha Radha Vallabha Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotra Sata Śrīmad His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotra Sata Śrīmad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki. Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham ki. Purushottama Kshetra Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Gangamai ki, Yamunamai ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Tulasi Devi ki, Kaliyuga Pavan Harinama Sankirtan ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 6, entitled The Downfall of Saubhari Muni. Text number 55? Text number 55. Ta svapatyur maharaja nirikshyadhyatmikim gatim anviyustat prabhavena agnim shantam ivarchisah. Ta svapatyur maharaja nirikshyadhyatmikim gatim anviyustat prabhavena agnim shantam ivarchishah. Tasapatyur maharaja nirikshyadhyatmikim gatim anviyustat prabhavena agnim shantam ivarchishah. Tasapatyur maharaja nirikshyadhyatmikim gatim anviyustat prabhavena Agnim Shantam Ivartishaha Tasvapatyar Maharaja Nirikshadhyatmikim Gatim Anviyustat Prabhavena Agnim Shantam Ivartishaha Tasvapatyar Maharaja Nirikshadhyatmikim Gatim Anviyustat Prabhavena Agnim Shantam Ivartishaha. Matajis. Agnim Shantam Ivartishaha. Taha, all the wives of Saubhari, Swapatyuhu, with their own husband, Maharaja, O King Parikshit, Nirikshya, observing, Adhyatmikim, spiritual, Gatim, progress, Anviyuhu, followed, Tat Prabhavena, by the influence of their husband. Although they were unfit, by the influence of their husband, they also could go to the spiritual world. Agnim, the fire, Shantam, completely merged, Iva, like, Archishaha, the flames. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O Maharaj Parikshit, by observing their husband progressing in the spiritual existence, Saubhari Muni's wives were also able to enter the spiritual world by his spiritual power, just as the flames of a fire cease when the fire is extinguished. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudras Tepi Yanti Parangatim. Women are not considered very powerful in following spiritual principles, but a woman is fortunate enough to get a suitable husband who is spiritually advanced, and if she always engages in his service, she also gets the same benefit as her husband. Here it is clearly said that the wives of Saubhari Muni also entered the spiritual world by the influence of their husband. They were unfit, but because they were faithful followers of their husband, they also entered the spiritual world with him. Thus a woman should be a faithful servant of her husband, and if the husband is spiritually advanced, and the woman will automatically get the opportunity to enter the spiritual world. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 6th chapter of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, entitled The Downfall of Saubhari Muni. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Vilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances to all the devotees who assembled for this morning Bhagavatam class. I seek blessings from Mataji and everyone here. Today we are discussing from the 9th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the last shloka of this chapter, Downfall of Saubhari Muni, where Sukadeva Goswami says that the wives of Saubhari Muni, 50 wives of Saubhari Muni, they also went to the spiritual world by the strength of the devotional service of Saubhari Muni. Prabhupada elaborately explains in the purport that although these daughters of Mandhata, the 50 wives of Saubhari Muni, were not fit yet to go to the spiritual world, somehow by the strength of the devotional service of Saubhari Muni, they also were elevated to the spiritual platform and they also went to the spiritual world. Here we see Prabhupada highlights how these wives were very faithful servants of their husband Saubhari Muni, and that's how they got an opportunity to enter the spiritual world. There are so many other examples connected to this theme in various parts of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And there are many contrasting examples also in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Let's try to recollect some of them. Let's go to the 3rd canto of Bhāgavatam from the 9th canto. There's a very powerful sage named Kardama Muni. He was the son of Brahma. He performed 10,000 years of austerities, pleasing Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu came on the back of Garuda to bless Kardama Muni. And eventually Kardama Muni married Devahuti, who was the daughter of Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. And Devahuti started serving Kardama Muni with so much love and affection and sincerity. She did not even take care of her body properly, compromising on even her own physical needs. So she extended herself to make all arrangements for Saubhari Muni's austerities and serve him to the best of her capacity. And Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni was very pleased with the service of Mother Devahuti. He said, Devahuti, you have served me with so much of sincerity. I am very, very pleased with your service. Now I am going to bless you with Abhayam and Ashokam. Abhaya means fearlessness. Ashoka means freedom from lamentation. Shoka means lamentation, Ashoka means no lamentation. Bhaya means fear, Abhaya means fearlessness. So I am going to bestow this. In short, he said, I am going to give you love of God. Prabhupada explains there in the 3rd canto purports, 23rd chapter. So, Kardama Muni said, my dear Devahuti, I am going to bestow upon you love of God. Then she said, I'll take later. What do you want now? I want a child at this moment. I aspire to become a mother now. Then Kardama Muni used his mystic power, as all of you know the story. Kardama Muni used his mystic power and transformed her body into a very, very healthy and effulgent body, although she became very thin and emaciated. He also created an aerial mansion and enjoyed in that aerial mansion for about 100 years, and eventually she became the mother of 9 daughters and 1 son. Right? You know that story. So there, Kardama Muni was very spiritually elevated. He did 10,000 years of austerities to please Lord Vishnu. But somehow, Devahuti did not do anything like that. All she did is only service to Kardama Muni. So by serving a spiritually elevated husband, who is as good as her guru, Devahuti also became very elevated in spiritual life, and eventually she became the mother of the Supreme Lord's incarnation. So pleased with the divine austerities and devotion of Kardama Muni, Lord Vishnu said, "You worshipped me to get a good wife, you will definitely get it. Day after tomorrow, Swami Munu and Shatrupa are going to come and offer their daughter to you in marriage, but something more I am going to give you. I will personally become your son." So the Supreme Lord is arranging for the marriage of his parents. Kardama Muni and Devahuti were his future parents, and the Lord has brought them together, and he said, "I will become your son." So by the strength of the devotional service done by Kardama Muni, Devahuti Mata became the mother of Kapila Dev, and she also eventually developed Vatsalya feelings, Vatsalya Bhava towards Kapila Dev, and she went back to Godhead ultimately. Now that's a wonderful example. There are so many beautiful shlokas. Vishrambhenatma shauchena gauravena dabenacha. So with self-control, with intimacy, with respect, with love, with affection, with so much of care, our Devahuti Mata was serving Kardama Muni, and she also teaches how a disciple has to serve the spiritual master. Wonderful example. And even in this 9th canto of Bhagavatam, if you move little ahead to Lord Ramachandra's pastimes, there is a beautiful shloka describing Mother Sita Devi. So Sita Devi also rendered service to Lord Ramachandra. Premna navritya shilena. Yeah. This is from 9.10.55. So Sukadeva Goswami says, Premna navritya shilena prashrayavanata sati bhiya hriya cha bhavagna bhartuhu sita haran manaha. Premna anuvritya shilena. Premna with great love. Anuvritya shilena means with a character endowed with obedience, submissiveness to her husband. Premna anuvritya shilena prashrayavanata sati. That sati, that chaste, loyal woman, Mother Sita Devi, she was rendering service to Lord Ramachandra. And bhiya hriya cha bhavagna. Bhiya means she had fear of Lord Ramachandra. Not the terror, it's a respectful fear. Whenever a devotee has fear towards the Lord, or a wife has some kind of fear towards the husband, that fear is characterized by love and respect, and that is fear of displeasing the master, displeasing the husband. Not like there is some terror in their hearts, right? That is the bhiya here. Hriya means with shy. Bhavagna. Bhiya hriya cha bhavagna. Bhavagna means understanding the bhava, emotion, or the needs, or the expectations of the husband. She was rendering service to Lord Ramachandra. Then bhartuhu sita haran manaha. By exhibiting this kind of character and behavior, Sita haran manaha, she has completely stolen the mana, the mind, the heart of Lord Ramachandra. Right? So she has completely captivated the heart of Lord Ramachandra with her wonderful character. So this is another example, wonderful example of a wife rendering great service to husband. And Kardama Muni is another example. Saubhari Muni's wives are another example. So there are multiple examples across Śrīmad Bhāgavatam where a wife rendered service to the husband, and by the spiritual power of the husband, wife was elevated to the spiritual world. Of course, Sita and Ram are part of spiritual world. But the principle of wife rendering service to husband is highlighted here. However, there are some contrasting examples also in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, in our great scriptural episodes. It's not that a wife goes to the spiritual world or becomes elevated in spiritual life only by the strength of the husband always. There are possibilities and we have seen multiple pastimes. But by the strength of the spiritual power or devotional service of a wife, husband also can become elevated. Right? Example, right in this Saubhari, an episode connected to Saubhari Muni, that is Kalia. In the place where Saubhari Muni was doing his austerities, in Vrindavan, in Yamuna, Kalia came and sat there. Right? Kalia. And Kalia was such a terrible, poisonous snake. Snakes are poisonous generally, but Kalia's body is poisonous. Along with body, Kalia's heart is also extremely poisonous. Right? Very envious, very proud, very arrogant. But Kalia's wives are very elevated in their bhakti towards Lord Krishna. And these Nagapatnis, the wives of Kalia, requested Kalia so many times. So many times they requested, can you please give up your envious nature? They tried to train him so much. But Kalia maintained his egoistic and arrogant attitude so much. So eventually, Lord Krishna jumped into Kalia lake. Once Krishna and all the cowherd boys went to the forest, they became thirsty, and these boys went and took some water from Kalia lake, and they became unconscious, they fell unconscious. Then Krishna came, he wanted to teach a lesson to Kalia. He just jumped into the Kalia lake, and he started swimming. With every movement of his hand, waving of his hand, he is just splashing water. A 6-year-old boy at that time. Krishna was a 6-year-old boy, but still with every movement of his hand, he is agitating the water so much. And Kalia, who was in the depths of this water, just came out, saw Krishna. Krishna was so beautiful. Tam prekshaniya sukumara ghanavadatam kridantim apratibhayam kamalodarangrim. Tam prekshaniya sukumara ghanavadatam means Krishna is prekshaniya, very, very pleasant to look at. Sukumara, very, very fragile body, means strong body, but looks very delicate, with the tender limbs. Somebody who is very strong may have like big limbs and biceps and triceps and six-pack and this and that, they look very strong. But Krishna is strong, but he doesn't look like that. He looks very tender, he looks very delicate, he looks like a lotus flower, he looks sukumara. Ghanavadatam, he has the complexion of the cloud. Tam prekshaniya sukumara ghanavadatam. Kridantim apratibhayam kamalodarangharim. Kridanti, he is just happily playing in this water. Apratibhayam, with absolutely no fear of any enemy. Apratibhayam. Kamalodarangharim. Kamala is lotus. His udara and angri are like Kamala. Or Kamalodara also means there is this Kamala. Inside of the lotus is that Kamalodara. Angri means feet. So Krishna's feet are like lotuses. Nice description. But seeing this beautiful form of Krishna, Kalia was not mesmerized or attracted. This all attractive Krishna could not attract the attention of Kalia, only attracted the envy of Kalia. To the degree our consciousness is impure, to that degree we will remain so hard-hearted and not influenced by even a spiritually surcharging moment or a darshan or a vision, right? Seeing Krishna's form is such a wonderful divine vision, but that did not have any impact on Kalia's heart because Kalia was very envious, very egoistic, very poisonous. Although we are fortunate enough to come in contact with a spiritually enlivening incident or a personality or some katha or some kirtan or some darshan or whatever, to the degree we hold on to our egoistic tendencies and our materialistic attitudes, to that degree we will not be positively impacted by what's happening there around. So anyways, Kalia did not experience any positive impact. Kalia only felt too much of envy. Kalia started biting Krishna's chest, bhujaya chachada, started biting Krishna's chest. And it's a long story. Krishna just swam away into the water and Kalia pursued Krishna, and eventually Krishna subdued Kalia. To cut the long story short, I want to focus on the main theme for, according to Prabhupada's purport today. So Krishna subdued Kalia. At one point, Kalia embraced Krishna. Kalia very tightly embraced Krishna within his coils. And that embrace is not just for a moment. It's just for one muhurta. 48 minutes Kalia was embracing Krishna. 48 minutes. Did anyone here embrace Krishna for 48 minutes or 48 seconds? But Kalia was embracing. Of course, sometimes when devotees dress Jagannath, they have to embrace Jagannath. Because in some deities of Jagannath are so huge, just to put the dress there, you just have to literally embrace Jagannath ji. So, anyways, Kalia was embracing Jagannath for 48 minutes, Krishna. Then after that, Krishna jumped on Kalia's hoods and he started dancing on every single head of Kalia. Kalia's head was bathed by the dust of Krishna's lotus feet profusely, every single head. It's like Mahiyasam Padarajobhishekam. So Kalia's Abhishek was done with Krishna's divine dust. Although Kalia could embrace Krishna for 48 minutes, although Kalia got the dust of Krishna's lotus feet on his head, every single head, still Kalia did not get the actual mercy of Krishna. Kalia received the real mercy of Krishna only when Nagapatnis offered a prayer to Krishna. All the wives of Kalia came there. When Krishna was dancing on the hoods of Kalia, all the wives of Kalia came there and said, Krishna, you are so merciful. We are still surprised. How come our husband got so much of great fortune to have your dust on his head? Every head of our husband is bathed by the dust of your lotus feet. We are very surprised with this kind of divine mercy that you showed upon him. Actually, Kalia's wives are the cause of Krishna's mercy upon Kalia. They were desiring, they were hoping for their husband's elevation, upliftment. Here, wives are pure devotees, but the husband is a poisonous, demoniac serpent. Right? But by the strength of the devotional service of the wife, the husbands were elevated. The husband was elevated. Right? So, this also signifies the importance of being a devotee, not being a man, not being a woman, not being a husband, not being a wife. It's being a devotee. So Prabhupada quoted this shloka, Striyo Vaishya Tata Sudra, and then many other places Prabhupada writes like women are less intelligent, this and that. So many statements are there within Bhagavatam. But Prabhupada writes in other purports and in his lectures also he mentions that it's all on the material platform. Don't identify too much with your body. It's about spiritual life and devotional service. Some Mataji went to Prabhupada and asked, Prabhupada, are women less intelligent? Prabhupada said, if you think you are a woman, you are less intelligent. If you think you are a man, you are less intelligent. If you think you are a brahmachari, you are less intelligent. If you think you are a grahastha, you are less intelligent. If you think you are a brahmana, you are less intelligent. If you think you are a sannyasi or kshatriya, whatever, you are less intelligent. If we think we are servants of Krishna, we are more intelligent. We are most intelligent, right? So Prabhupada made it very, very clear in establishing the importance of taking to spiritual life. And on a spiritual platform, there are no differences between man, woman, wife, husband, brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, kshatriya, brahmana, all this varna, ashrama, gender, nationality, all these external designations or considerations are completely eradicated when one takes to the process of bhakti. A woman who takes to Krishna consciousness is millions of times more intelligent than a man who doesn't take to Krishna consciousness. As simple as that. Less intelligence or more intelligence is completely dependent on how much one values spiritual life. Right? In this context, Saubhari Muni was a spiritually elevated husband, and by rendering service to Saubhari Muni, his 50 wives also were elevated to spiritual platform. They also went to the spiritual world. Similarly, in the third canto of Bhagavatam, Kardama Muni was a spiritually elevated husband. By rendering service to Kardama Muni, his wife Devahuti eventually became the mother of the Supreme Lord, and she became a very pure devotee, and she became a recipient of love of Godhead. Similarly, in this context of Kalia, because Kalia's wives Nagapatnis were very spiritually elevated, they are great devotees of Krishna, because of their prayers, Krishna showed some mercy on Kalia. Krishna was subduing Kalia, and Kalia was on the verge of death. Then immediately Nagapatnis came there and offered their obeisances to Krishna, prayers to Krishna, and said, Krishna, please protect our husband, please forgive him, please leave him. He said, okay, fine, of course, when you say, I will have to leave. You are devotees. Your husband was not a devotee, but you are devotees. Okay, they will get forgiveness because of your prayer. Similarly, in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, 23rd chapter, we have this beautiful example of Dvijapatni Leela. Once Krishna's friends became very hungry, they wanted some food. Probably the lunchbox packed by their mothers were finished. They became extra hungry. So they wanted some food, and Krishna said, there are some Brahmanas who are doing some sacrifices there, please go and beg some food. So they went. These sacrificers, these Brahmanas who are involved in karmakandic sacrifices, they were so absorbed in these ritualistic activities that they did not have the kindness to offer some food to little boys. They completely ignored them, neglected them. They had the pride that we are Brahmanas. These people are cowheads, right? They did not even say yes or even no. They completely ignored them. At least saying no means giving some attention. Saying yes or no means you are giving some attention, but they completely neglected, completely ignored, and these boys were broken-hearted, and they came back to Krishna and said, see, this is how we were treated. Then Krishna said, don't worry. These Yagnik Brahmanas ignored you. They did not offer you any food, don't worry. Their wives are very elevated devotees. Go to them. Go to the wives of these Brahmanas and beg food. How did these wives become pure devotees? They never saw Krishna. They never saw Krishna, but they became very, very elevated in their devotional service because they could hear about Krishna from some vegetable sellers or some kind of visitors coming from Krishna's village, Vrindavan, to their agrahara. Their Brahmanas live in a separate place, community. So sometimes vegetable sellers go into that community and sell some vegetables, sell some fruits. So that's how they were hearing about Krishna. Even that hearing from some fruit vendors and vegetable sellers also induced so much of love and affection in the hearts of these wives of the Brahmanas, they became very elevated devotees. But their husbands were too much caught up in ritualistic karmakandic activities, right? So far they were hearing different pastimes of Krishna, they could never see Krishna. But as soon as these young cowhead boys came to these gopis and said, Krishna is nearby, Balaram is nearby, we just need some food, we are hungry, can you please give some food? Then all these ladies, they just picked up whatever food items they have in their home, very elaborate food items, and although their husbands were stopping them, their family members were stopping them, they ignored all their requests and they ran towards Krishna. How? Acharyas give a beautiful example. Just like rivers flow towards the ocean, naturally, these Brahmana Patnis also were flowing towards Krishna, running towards Krishna, like with the current of a river, heavy current of a river. Just like Kunti Maharani says, very beautifully, Tvayi me ananya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit ratim udvahata daddha gange vaugham udanvati Tvayi me ananya vishaya. Oh Krishna, let my mind not think of anything else. Let me just completely focus on your devotional service. Just as Ganga flows towards the ocean, despite facing so many obstacles in the form of trees and forests and villages and cities and mountains and hills, somehow Ganga makes her way towards the ocean. Similarly, let my mind always think of you despite so many obstacles and distractions and allurements. That was Kunti's prayer, which is very clearly evident in the lives of these Brahmana Patnis. So these Brahmana Patnis, were so elevated in their devotion, although they are not well studied in their literatures, in Vedas. They did not perform austerities. They did not perform some Vedic study. They did not go to Gurukuls. They were not officially trained in chanting Vedic mantras or these Puranas, etc. They were simple housewives, but they were so elevated in their bhakti because of hearing about Krishna from bona fide sources. From those people who also loved Krishna, who also had so much of attraction towards Krishna. So this is the power of sincere hearing. And after these ladies went to Krishna and offered all the foods, Krishna said, "Thank you very much. I'm very grateful to you that you have got some food for me. Now that you can go back. You came here, you saw me, you are satisfied." Actually, Krishna could have sent the Gopas directly to their wives only. But he did not do so. He purposely sent the Gopa boys to their husbands first, just so that we understand the difference, the contrast between the wives and the husbands here. Right? So later, when these ladies were blessed by Krishna, and when this news came to their husbands, how Krishna specifically blessed these ladies, then the husbands became so ashamed. Although we are so attached to studying Vedas and conducting ritualistic sacrifices and doing many, many other things, our wives have developed pure devotion to Krishna. The culmination of all these processes must be developing pure devotion to Krishna. What's the point of studying Vedas and performing austerities and conducting rituals and doing many, many other things if we don't have bhakti towards Krishna? So these people realized and they regretted. They felt ashamed, right? They felt ashamed of their behavior, misbehavior towards these Gopas. Oh, we could not exhibit any love and affection towards Krishna. We were so unfortunate. And these ladies, these Brahmana Patnis, when they went to Krishna, Krishna told them, "You go back." But they were saying, "No, we will not go back. In fact, our husbands will not accept us. Because we rejected them and came to you. We prioritized you more than our husbands, more than our family members, more than our society, more than our cultural ties and Vedic Varnashrama regulations. They will not accept us back. Let us stay here only in the forest. Let us serve your lotus feet like Vanadevatas, goddesses of forest." So let's be here only. Krishna said, "Don't worry. By my power, your family members will accept you again." Right? And you can continue practicing your bhakti while staying at home. Shravanat darshanat dhyanat mayi bhavo anukirtanat natatha sannikarshena. He said, Shravanat darshanat dhyanat. Shravan by hearing about Krishna. Darshanat by taking darshan of Krishna's deity form. Dhyanat by meditating on the Lord. Mayi bhavo anukirtanat. By being conscious of me, you should chant my names. Natatha sannikarshena, not by physical proximity. Pratiyata tato grahan. Go back homes and do your Shravan, Kirtan, Darshan, Dhyan, etc. And don't worry so much about physical proximity. You are always in union with me by your remembrance, through hearing. And now that you have come here and seen me, don't worry. You just relish these precious moments of direct darshan of me, but go back and serve my deity forms. Go back and do Shravanam and Kirtanam. So Krishna had sent them. So they went back. So by the strength of their devotional service, their attachment to Krishna, their husbands were transformed. You want another example? Let's go to the 4th canto of Bhagavatam. In the 4th canto of Bhagavatam, Uttanapad was a henpecked husband. He was so attached to his younger wife Suruchi. And he was giving so much of affection to her son, Uttama. But he always neglected his elder wife, Suniti. She was also beautiful. She was also officially wedded wife and she's the foremost queen. She's the first queen also. But for some reason, Uttanapad was overly attached to the younger wife. But Suruchi, being a chaste woman, she never protested. She never confronted. She said, if the Lord decides that I have to experience this, let me tolerate it. Right? So she tolerated. And one day Suruchi insulted insulted Dhruva also, Suniti's son. Then Suniti was devastated. Davagnina davalateva bala. She was like a tender creeper burning in the forest fire. Although her condition was like that, she always kept faith in the Lord. She always continued her worship of the Lord. She was a pure Vaishnavi. She also taught her son, Dhruva, you also become a devotee. Tvameva vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam mumukshu bhirmrugya padabja paddhatim ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite manasya vasthapya bhajasva purusham. She said, my dear child, don't feel disappointed that your father neglected you. Don't feel disappointed that your stepmother chastised you or insulted you or deprived you of a simple privilege of sitting in father's lap or father's throne. Don't worry. Take shelter of Krishna. I am just one mother who can give the affection of one mother to the child, but the Supreme Lord Krishna is the combination of millions of mothers put together. His affection is equivalent to the affection of millions of mothers put together. So you please take shelter of the Lord. Tvameva vatsa ashraya bhritya vatsalam. Take shelter of that Lord who is very affectionate towards his devotees. So Dhruva Maharaj did that. Because she was a pure Vaishnavi, she is the one. She was a pure Vaishnavi and she is the one who has given instruction to Dhruva Maharaj to become a pure devotee. Eventually, her devotion, her tolerance, her Vaishnava character brought a transformation in Uttanapada also. After being enlightened by Mother Suniti, when Dhruva Maharaj left home and he went to the forest, then Uttanapada reflected on his own behavior. Uttanapada Maharaj became very regretful, very guilty. I neglected my chaste wife. I neglected my noble son. So he became very regretful and he became transformed. Here is a wife who transformed the heart of her husband. Of course, Uttanapada Maharaj was not envious like Kalia, was not ritualistic like the Brahmanas, but nevertheless, he was not perfect. He was a devotee, definitely. But somehow, at some phase in his life, he was unduly attached to his wife and he was behaving in an unexpected way, right? But the tolerance and the devotion of Suniti Mata brought a transformation in Uttanapada, right? So here we have seen several examples from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam where by the strength of the devotional service of a husband, the wives were elevated to spiritual platform, and by the strength of the devotional service of a wife, the husbands were elevated to spiritual platform. So it's not always true that only husbands are spiritually elevated and wives just must have to just be obedient and then only they will be elevated to spiritual platform. Not necessarily true, right? So we have seen multiple examples. Basically, Prabhupada made it very clear in multiple purports and multiple explanations and multiple lectures that we are all servants of Krishna. Some servants, somehow they forgot their identity as servants of Krishna and they start identifying themselves with so many material designations, nationalities, occupations and genders in this material world. And this kind of artificial inflation of false ego will keep them on the material platform forever, and that's where these differences of less intelligence, more intelligence come into picture, right? So this is all on the material platform. On the material platform, there are differences of who is more, who is great, who is more wealthy, who is more beautiful, who is more educated, who is more resourceful, who is more intelligent. So all these are on the material platform. But on the spiritual platform, everybody is a servant of Krishna. Some people do more service to Krishna, some people do less service to Krishna. But as long as the service is done with a sincere intention to please the Lord is happy to receive that service, right? It's not about capacity, it's not about ability, it's about the consciousness, right? It's not ability, it's intention. It's not capacity, it's consciousness. So Krishna sees that. Krishna is very pleased with the simple service done by squirrel. And he is also pleased with the great service done by Hanuman. Because both are serving the Lord according to the best of their capacity. Some people are in Vatsalya platform, some devotees are in Madhurya platform, some devotees are in Dasya platform. But Krishna is happy with all their services, and the devotees are also very completely satisfied with their particular relationship with Krishna and the opportunity that they receive to serve Krishna. Right? On the spiritual platform there is complete bliss. There may be hierarchy according to our analysis, right? There is hierarchy, definitely. When you do an unbiased comparison, yes, one rasa is higher than another rasa, but the devotee who is experiencing that particular rasa with Krishna is completely and eternally satisfied in that specific relationship with Krishna. Right? On spiritual platform, there is only pure bliss. There is no artificial superiority or inferiority from the perspective of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Brahmacharis, Grihasthas, men, women. This kind of differences are not there on the spiritual platform. Everybody who is on the spiritual platform is a dear associate of Krishna, dear servant of Krishna, who serves in a particular capacity. Right? So as our Prahlad Maharaj says, Manye dhanabhijana rupa tapashritaujah tejah prabhava bala paurusha buddhi yoga naradhanaya hi bhavanti parasya pumso bhaktya tutosha bhagavan gajayutha paya. Dhana means wealth, abhijana followers, dhana, abhijana, rupa, tapa, shruta, oja, teja, prabhava, bala, paurusha, buddhi, yoga, all these 12 qualifications which are considered very exalted on the material platform are neither qualifications nor disqualifications to receive the grace of Krishna. Just because somebody is wealthy, that does not mean they get extra mercy from Radha Vallabh. Somebody is very poor, it's not that they are deprived of the Lord's mercy. Or poor people get more mercy and rich people will not get so much mercy. We cannot say that also. Although Sukanti Maharani says, Janmaishwarya Shrita Shribhir Edha Manamadah Puman Naivarhatya Bhidhatum Vaitva Kinchana Gocharam. Janma, high birth. Aishwarya. Yes, I'll take. Yeah, thank you. So Janma, high birth. Aishwarya, so much wealth. Shruta, education. Shri, beauty. These 4 things are considered very, very great privileges on the material platform. But they are of no relevance. They are of no relevance on the spiritual platform. Right? Just because somebody is very wealthy, that does not mean they are deprived of bhakti. Of course, there are some incidents and some pastimes in the Bhagavatam that say that wealth is a very great obstacle in one's path of bhakti if somebody is proud of wealth. If somebody identifies oneself with wealth, like Nalakavara and Manigriva. So these 2 people were so proud of their wealth, they became addicted to women and wine, and they were misbehaving in front of Narada Muni. So that made them trees. So in that context, there are so many shlokas how wealth can degrade a person. But there are so many incidents in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, pastimes in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, that describe that very, very wealthy great emperors are pure devotees of Krishna. Ambrish Maharaj is very wealthy, he is not a pauper. Yudhishthira Maharaj is very wealthy, he was not a pauper. Prithu Maharaj is so wealthy. There are so many great devotees, they had so much wealth and Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri. Therefore, we need to see Śrīmad Bhāgavatam from the overall perspective. If we just take one statement or one shloka or one pastime or one story out of context and then generalize it so much, we unnecessarily offend some sincere people or we get offended. Right? So seeing this one purport, if somebody generalizes the whole thing without understanding the overall Prabhupada's teachings, overall perspectives presented in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam in various episodes, we may end up in a very, very superficial understanding of the philosophy. Right? So here Prabhupada is saying, by the strength of Saubhari Muni's devotional service, their wives were uplifted, they went to the spiritual world. But there are other places also. Right? This Nagapatnis, when they offered prayers for Kalia, you know what they said? Nanaka prishtham na chaparameshthyam na sarva bhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhir apunar bhavam va samanjasatva virahayya kangshe. So this is from Rudrasur's prayer, but Nagapatnis also offer a somewhat similar prayer. 90% is same only. I forgot the last line which is unique to Nagapatnis. Anyways, these Nagapatnis said that we don't want any exalted position in all the 14 planetary systems. Whether it is Brahma's position or sovereignty over the Bhumandala or position in Svargaloka or even lower planets, we don't want any of them. Right? All we want is pure devotional service, dust from your lotus feet. That is the understanding of this Nagapatnis. So by that prayers and many other prayers, they reveal that connection with Krishna is of prime importance. Right? Whether one who connects with Krishna is a man or a woman or a child or an adult or a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra or someone who is born in India or outside India or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. As long as they come to the spiritual platform, they get profuse mercy of Krishna. Right? And by their devotional service, by the strength of their devotional service, those who are connected to them also become elevated. Whether the connection is like wife and husband connection, or mother and son connection, or father and child connection, or guru and disciple connection, or disciple and guru connection. Right? You see, Prabhupada very humble, very humble. You know what he writes? When Dhruva Maharaj was going back to Godhead, this Vaikuntha airplane descended and told Dhruva, please board this airplane. And Dhruva boarded the airplane, respectfully, gratefully. As the airplane was about to move, he immediately said, oh my God, how can I go to Vaikuntha without my mother? He wanted to jump from the airplane. But understanding his emotions and his gratitude towards his mother, who became the cause of his entrance into Vaikuntha, 36,000 years back, it was Mother Suniti who enlightened Dhruva and inspired him in devotional service. Because of that, he is going back to Godhead now. Now, while going back to Godhead, Dhruva Maharaj remembered his mother. He also wanted to take his mother to the spiritual world. Then the Vaikuntha attendants, Jaya and Nanda and Sunanda, told Dhruva, your mother is also going to Vaikuntha. See, there is another airplane for her. We arranged a separate airplane for her. So you both are going together, don't worry. So in that context, Srila Prabhupada writes, although Suniti Mata did not go to the forest, she did not perform intense austerities for 6 months standing on one leg, breathing air only in 12 days, eating only berries once in 3 days. She did not perform such severe austerities. By the strength of the devotional service of Dhruva, she is also going back to Godhead. Of course, she herself is a Vaishnavi. And her extra privilege is her son also became a Vaishnava, and she is the one who made her a Vaishnava. Right? So they went back to Godhead. So in this context, Prabhupada says that by the strength of one of my disciples, one of my followers, may I also be considered an entrance into the spiritual world. Of course, by his grace only millions of followers will get grace of Krishna, but he is presenting like that. He is so humble. So there is a possibility that by the strength of someone, now in Prabhupada's case it's totally his humility, we can clearly say. For example, you are preaching to somebody, right? In our current context in 2025, so we happen to preach to somebody. We are teaching Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam to others, we are giving Kanthimala, we are inspiring them to chant the holy names of Krishna. They are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. They are studying Gita, Bhagavatam. Over a period of time, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, their understanding of Bhagavatam may be much more than ours. Their intensity and absorption in chanting could be much more than ours. Right? It's possible. Then preacher should not develop any complex. Inferiority complex. Why did I unnecessarily bring him? He's outsmarting me. He's outsmarting me. He's superseding me. He's getting more name, fame, adoration than me. I brought him to bhakti. Let me remind him. मैंने कंठीमाला दी आपको. I have given you Kantimala. I have brought you to this stage. Let me go and remind him that I am his counselor, I am his mentor, or I am his leader, or whatever. Sometimes those who take inspiration in devotional service because of one individual could become more advanced than this individual also. Right? So we should never feel that we are bringing somebody to Krishna consciousness. It is Krishna, it is the parampara that's bringing people to Krishna consciousness, and I am very, very fortunate to participate in this great mission, and I am very insignificant still. I am very fortunate enough to play a small role here as a representative of this parampara, as a humble servant of the parampara and Krishna. I am just trying to communicate their message to these people, and when they become very elevated, I am very happy for it. I am happy to be instrumental in someone's spiritual journey. That's how we should think, right? So when we have that instrument consciousness, then we'll be empowered. We'll be empowered to tap so many people and inspire so many hearts. But when that instrument consciousness is not there, when there is accomplishment consciousness, I am the one who is bringing all these people to bhakti. So then that makes that instrument very weak instrument. Just like there is chain of disciple section, right? Chain. Chain means there are so many rings connected to each other like this. So many rings are there. So if every ring is strong, then it can pull some weight. Just imagine, instead of one iron ring, you put a thermocol ring. Or you bind with some rope, sutli, right? And you are trying to pull 100 kilos weight or 200 kilos weight. It will break, right? So, like for example, you are using your mobile data to connect to a laptop, right? So in laptop there is no Wi-Fi, and in your phone there is some signal. So you put some hotspot on, and then you are trying to use that hotspot on your laptop, right? The connection between laptop and the phone is very strong, right? You see five bars on your laptop. But if the mobile data is very weak, it happens in GV many times. If the mobile data is very weak, mobile data does not have five lines, only one line or two lines are there. Although your connection, the laptop's connection with the phone is strong, because the phone's connection with the internet is not strong, this laptop will not get so much power. It cannot get, it will not get the signal. Similarly, when we are not acting as proper instruments in Krishna's hands or Parampara's hands, and if we are envious, if we are proud, if we are self-centric, if we are possessive, if we are accomplishment conscious, then we cannot act as effective instruments in Krishna's hands, right? Of course, Krishna has his own ways of connecting people who are sincere. If not through us, someone else will connect them, right? We should be happy for it. Okay, I could not help this devotee. Okay, someone else helped this devotee. Let me be happy for it, right? So that is the consciousness expected. So in short, when somebody practices bhakti sincerely, many people connected to that person also can become devotees. Whether it is wife or husband, or son or mother, or brahmana or kshatriya, or brahmachari grahastha, it doesn't matter. When sincerely practices bhakti, they will go back to Godhead, and they will also take 10 other people also back to Godhead, to the degree they are compassionate and then transmit the message of Krishna to all these people. So these are a few thoughts based on this shloka and purport, which is a bit sensitive, but when we see the overall context of entire Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and if we try to reconcile and connect multiple episodes of Bhagavatam and multiple purports by Prabhupada, then we can have a more comprehensive understanding of this subject. But if we take things out of context, we may misunderstand, and we may transmit that misunderstanding, right? I hope this is of some use. Thank you very much. Granthara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? If there are any mistakes in my whatever I spoke in the last 1 hour or so, kindly forgive me. Any questions, comments, reflections, realizations? Yes, Prabhu.
So His grace literally means it's the grace, His grace, the Lord's grace. So everybody should see it like that instead of thinking I am
My grace.
so just the instrument.
Correct.
And the other one is just reminding me of Chittan when he was when they were talking about people not caring enough.
Thank you. Any other question, comment? Yes, Madhavanand Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thanks for that nice class. Referring back to Lord Kapila and Mother Devahuti pastime that you were referring to, Bhakti Mama Vijanati, the Lord appears only to his pure devotees. So Mother Devahuti at that point in time didn't seem to be a pure devotee when the Lord took birth in a womb. So how do I reconcile this? She probably internally was, but
She didn't seem to be pure devotee.
when the Lord appeared to her at that point in time, because when the Lord gave her the Adhyatmika yoga, then she got transformed.
She definitely demonstrated her loyalty and surrender and service attitude when she was serving Kardama Muni. And after that, she regretted that, oh, I only asked for children. When Kardama Muni was about to give me love of God, I only asked for children, and she became a little regretful and said, oh, my dear husband, sangoyaha samsriter hetu asatsu vihito dhiya sa eva sadhushu krito mokshadvaram apavartam. Means, or nisangatvaya kalpate, sorry. So, sangoyaha samsriter hetur, when you associate with materialistic people, that is the hetu, cause of entering into hell or entering into the cycle of birth and death. But sa eva sadhushu krito nisangatvaya kalpate. But if we associate with a sadhu, even with material motivations, even with desire for sense enjoyment, sadhu's association should only elevate us. That was a profound point she made in 3rd canto, 23rd chapter, last few shlokas. Although I associated with you for the purpose of sense gratification, still you are an elevated devotee who got the darshan of the Lord. Your association should only uplift me spiritually. That understanding an ordinary person cannot get. And by the way, even when she desired for children and she did not accept love of God, that should not be a reason for us to call her any less advanced, because it's ultimately a part of the Lord's plan. It's a part of, if she says, okay, give me love of God, let's go back to Godhead together, then we will not have Kapil Dev. We will not have her 9 daughters, and we will not have Naranarayan Rishis coming through her descendants, and several exalted personalities came from her children, right? So it's a part of Lord's plan where she chose to have children instead of taking love of God. Right? Actually, Kardama Muni got this instruction from Brahma to procreate and increase the population of this universe. Yesterday we discussed so much. Right? That's a bona fide instruction. That's a bona fide service. If he keeps aside that service and then says, let's go back to Godhead, then we will not have so many great souls. So, by the inspiration of the Lord, Mother Devahuti asked for children. Secondly, she realized, out of her humility, she also said that I only associated with you for sense gratification, so kindly forgive me. But even if one associates with a sadhu for some material purposes, still the sadhu's association should only uplift them spiritually. Therefore, you should do something to me, for me. Then Kapila Deva took birth. Her understanding, of course, later after hearing Kapila's instructions, she became even more evolved. But at the moment, just before she gave birth to Kapila or after giving birth to Kapila, we cannot say that she is less advanced. She is more advanced at least than us, right? Eventually, she became even more advanced. Okay, thank you. Yes, our class is not complete without your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned if the wife serves her husband faithfully, even though if she's unfit, she can go back home, back to Godhead. So
If the husband is a pure devotee.
In some cases we see like Draupadi, she was a devotee of Krishna and she was faithfully serving the Pandavas. But in the assembly hall, when she was in complete danger, none of the husbands could protect her. She herself had to call out to Krishna for help.
That shows that every single soul has an individual connection with Krishna. And beautiful that you brought this out. In the 15th chapter of the first canto, Pandavas retired timely, right? There, when Pandavas heard that Krishna disappeared, they were planning for their disappearance, their departure. Everyone became disconnected from each other. Yudhishthira Maharaj, without any attachment towards his brothers or his wife or his mother or anyone, he just went on his journey and went back to Godhead. Same thing with the individual Pandavas. Even Draupadi also, Subhadra also, Kunti also, they also meditated on the Lord and they had their individual journeys. Even Dhruva and Suniti also, they were flying in different airplanes, not in the same airplane, right? So Prabhupada says, fly your own plane. Although husband is elevated in bhakti, that does not mean wife can just think that, okay, he will take care and I need not chant Hare Krishna. Similarly, because wife is elevated, husband should not think that, okay, she will chant and then she will do arti and all, I will just... in South India, some places it happens, wife gets up early in the Brahma Muhurta and then she does all the activities and she does some puja and husband gets up at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock and asks for bed coffee. Right? So we have seen such instances also. Basically everybody has their own individual connection with Krishna, their own spiritual journey. But definitely a spiritually elevated spouse can help an individual to become more absorbed in bhakti, more inspired in bhakti. Their association, the association of good devotees or good spouses or good family members or good parents or good children, whatever, that devotee association will inspire us in bhakti. Will give us some good company in performing our sadhana. That will enhance our connection with Krishna. But everybody has an individual journey towards Krishna, right? So, fly your own plane. Coming back to this Draupadi example, there's an important Vaishnava lesson there. Pandavas, none of the Pandavas could protect her. Of course, spiritually they are elevated, they are praying, but physically, externally, materially, they could not protect her. Even Bhishma could not protect, Drona could not protect. The king, who is always sitting there, unable to see anything, but hearing everything very sincerely and asking updates. Sanjay, what happened? Dubudra, what happened? He's asking updates. What's happening there? Who won? He could not protect. He did not protect. He did not want to protect. So the lesson for Vaishnavas there is, when every single force in the entire creation fails to protect us, still Krishna will protect us. That episode of Draupadi Vastraharan and even Gajendra's episode, that proves that Krishna is the only protector. He is the ultimate protector. No one else has that capacity to protect anyone as much as Krishna does. Even if they are so powerful, even if they have the strength of 10,000 elephants, they cannot protect. Something is binding them. Bhima could have killed Dushasana at that moment only, but some obligation is stopping him, right? Bhishma could have slapped Duryodhana and stopped the whole thing, but some obligation was stopping him. Physically they are fit to protect, but somehow, some ethically or emotionally or something is stopping them, right? Therefore they could not protect, right? But Krishna has no such obligations. Even if he has, he surpasses all obligations. Forget all this obligation. My devotee's protection is more important, right? Generally speaking, when a devata gives a boon to somebody, some demon or somebody, Krishna respects that boon. Even if that person deserves to be killed, Krishna kills them in such a way that the devata's boon will not be compromised, right? You know, so many examples. But in Ajamil's case, Krishna did not communicate with Yamaraj. Yamaraj had sent Yamadutas to capture Ajamil, to take him to hell. But The Lord had directly sent his Vishnu Dutas to protect Ajamil, directly surpassing the jurisdiction of Yamaraj, and later Yamaraj had to say, sorry, my dear Lord, I'm sorry for sending Yamadutas to capture Ajamil. He had to apologize. The Lord surpassed that. Generally, when Devatas give benedictions to somebody, Krishna will punish even such people in such a way that the Devatas' benedictions are not compromised, their decisions are not compromised. It's not that they become overruled. But in Ajamil's case, Lord Vishnu completely overruled the decision of Yamaraj and protected Ajamil. In terms of protecting his devotees, Krishna, no obligation can stop Krishna. Right? Forget my word to Devatas and forget my empowerment or blessing that I have given to Devatas. Forget the fact that I have empowered them to take this decision. I should not surpass the decision. I should respect their autonomy. He will forget all that. Ajamil has to be protected. So, this Draupadi Vastharan is giving a much, much higher Vaishnava lesson. It's not just mere husband-wife relation thing, right? And in the 5th canto, 18th chapter, Mother Lakshmi prays to Lord Narayana. She says that so many foolish women in this world, they are aspiring for great husbands thinking that they will protect. But you are the real husband. You are the real pati. And so many foolish men in this world, they worship me, that I will bless them with money, with wealth. But they don't understand that I don't bless them if they ignore you. So she criticizes all men and women in this world. Women thinks that husband is a protector, but Lakshmi says that husband cannot protect, only Vishnu can protect. Men think that Lakshmi will give me so much Lakshmi, money, but I will not give them if they don't surrender it to you. So, does it make sense?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks for a wonderful class. Prabhuji, in Kalia's pastime, because Kalia was envious and that's why he couldn't surrender to Krishna. But in my case, even I'm trying to be closer to Krishna every day, but the pure love is not arising. My heart is like Kalia, so I'm thinking what to do. Please guide me and help me so I can have pure love for Krishna.
The first step to attain pure love for Krishna is to realize that we don't have that pure love and aspire for it. How to develop prema for the Lord? We all know the answer by chanting Naam of the Lord. Just as Kalia, although he is very impure, very poisonous, but when Lord Krishna danced on the hoods of Kalia, naturally Kalia was purified. Of course, Nagapatis also prayed, but because Kalia's heads were stamped and trampled by the Lord's foot, Kalia was purified. Although Kalia's body was slippery, Kalia was poisonous, Kalia was envious, Kalia's body was wet, still, when Krishna danced on the slippery hoods of Kalia, Kalia became purified. Similarly, our tongue is also like Kalia. Our tongue is also wet like Kalia's body. Our tongue is also slippery like Kalia's body. Not only slippery physically, there is a tongue slip. Verbally also we become right. The tongue is also wet like Kalia, slippery like Kalia, soft like Kalia's body, envious also. But if we allow Krishna's name to dance on our tongue, then the envy is subdued, we will become purified. Then eventually we will develop prema also. But there is nothing to be disappointed because we are sadhakas. Sadhakas cannot have that spontaneous love for the Lord. Sadhaka will only do sadhana as an obligation, as a duty, because it is mentioned in the Shastras, because Guru instructed me, because there is some intellectual understanding or conviction, therefore they do their sadhana. They don't have a natural attraction. But by doing that sadhana only, we'll eventually develop that natural attraction. In these 9 stages of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Pasavanam, etc. 9 stages, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, etc. Nishtha comes before Ruchi. Nishtha comes before Prema. Nishtha means steadiness in practice. Ruchi means taste. To get taste in chanting Krishna's name, first we need to be steady in our chanting. When there is steadiness in our chanting, regularity in our chanting, consistency in our chanting, sincerity and attempt, practice in our chanting, when we come to the stage of nishtha, eventually we will develop ruchi and bhava and prema. Ruchi will not come first. I don't have ruchi, therefore I am not chanting. No, first you chant, then you will get ruchi. Right? That's the process. First comes nishtha, then comes ruchi. First comes steadiness in practice, consistency in practice, then comes that feelings, devotional feelings. And love. Okay, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. We'll conclude here. It's 8:55. One more question? Yes, Prabhu. 2 questions, yeah.
Just what she was asking about the gambling match and Pandavas not helping Draupadi. Can we say that they didn't externally help, but because of their devotion to Krishna, Draupadi was inspired to pray to Krishna, or was it her own, devotion?
Draupadi herself is a pure Vaishnavi. Right? Definitely, Pandavas are pure devotees. Definitely they help each other, inspire each other in taking shelter of Krishna, no doubt. But we cannot underestimate Draupadi's personal devotion to the Lord. Pandavas may feel uncomfortable. Right? If we say because of the strength of Pandavas devotionally, Draupadi could pray. Yeah, definitely. Devotees inspire each other, but she herself is a pure Vaishnavi, no doubt. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, last year when you came, you gave a lecture on how to be the instrument in the hand of Krishna. Mm-hmm. And I was relating that topic with today's class, the instrument consciousness. Prabhuji, you gave an example of how the flute becomes the instrument while, I don't remember exactly, Prabhuji.
Correct.
You gave an example that how flute becomes an instrument for Krishna because that's how the voice comes out from the flute. Mm-hmm. And Prabhuji, I was thinking, how should we become an instrument in this material life which also does not become good karma? Sometimes when you think, when I try to tell somebody, this comes on my mind if I am doing good karma, but that also is in a way you are being instrument, which since we are so since I'm living in illusion, that becomes an accomplishment in a way. But how to tackle that, Prabhuji?
We need to choose to become instruments in the will of Guru and Vaishnavas. So, the 4th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam says, Prabhupada gives a beautiful analogy there. Our material desires are like waves of ripples on a river, which will never stop. Right? Our material desires are like ripples on a river that will never stop. But when the river meets the ocean, the huge tides or waves of the ocean will dominate, will overpower the simple, insignificant ripples of the river, that the river's ripples are no more seen. The ocean's waves are only are seen. Right? Similarly, our material desires are like ripples on a river, but Guru's desires, Vaishnava's desires to serve Krishna are like waves of the ocean. When we act as an instrument in their will, when we align our desires with their desires, automatically our material desires will go away, and because they want to serve Krishna, and you want to assist them or become an instrument in their service to Krishna, whatever you do is neither good karma nor bad karma. It's completely a bhakti karma. There is papa karma, there is punya karma, there is bhakti karma. Papa karma means pious activity, impious activity, sinful activity. Punya karma means pious activities. But bhakti karma means devotional activity. So that is transcendental to any piety or impiety. Is that what you are asking?
Yes, Prabhuji. But can you give also one in relation to the context of being an instrument, can you give some example so that I can relate that it is not a good karma, rather you're just an instrument?
As long as the activity that you are doing by being an instrument in a devotee's desire, it's a spiritual activity. Because if they are devotees, whatever they engage you in is a spiritual activity. They may ask you, make garlands, dress the deities, sing kirtan, read Bhagavatam, teach Bhagavatam. So there are various activities, cook prasadam, right? Offer bhoga to the deities and distribute prasadam. All these are devotional activities, right? We may do all these devotional activities by being instruments in the desires of some senior devotees, guru, right? Because these are devotional activities, we will not get any karma. There is no point of karma there. There is no good karma, there is no bad karma. There is only bhakti karma. Mat karma krin mat paramo mat bhaktaha sangavarjitaha. All these are devotional activities meant for the pleasure of Krishna, meant for the pleasure of Vaishnavas. There is no good karma there. There is no karma business there. Right? We may have a karmic mentality, that's a different thing. But if we are doing them in the mood of an instrument in devotees' desires, where is karma? Where is question of karma there? There is no karma, there is only bhakti. Make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
Sorry for the questions.
Hare. It's 9 o'clock, we should stop. Aniruddha Prabhu says, if we go beyond 9 o'clock, it's offense to Mahaprasadam. Hare Krishna. We are stopping exactly at 9 o'clock. Title is same. Title Sharanagati is always same, but yes, you want garland? Yesterday you got garland. Today also you only got. Oh.
I just had another question. Did Kalia
Why
go
didn't you
back?
ask in the class?
I forgot. Did Kalia go back to Lord Krishna, or what was next?